Hey there, how are you? So, if any of you out there are experiencing a lot of loss, which I know there's a lot of people in the collective that are grieving and experiencing extreme loss, I want to just give you a big hug right now because I know how hard it is with what you're going through. And I want to just say that I'm sorry that you're experiencing this, but also want to let you know that it's part of the plan and the design for your life. So, to be able to let go as gracefully as possible is going to be in your benefit. So, what's happening is that we are, as a collective, transforming. Humanity is changing from the old paradigm to the new paradigm. And so that means that we have to become new versions of ourselves. And in order to do that, our old self has to die. And it might literally feel like you're dying. You might feel like you've got the weight of the world on your shoulders and it's crushing you, or you just have no energy or no get up and go to like face the day. And that's actually a good sign, because that means that your old self is dying. So allow the old self to die. And of course, I mean that figuratively, not literally, so that the new self can be birthed. For me personally, I lost everything about 4.5 years ago. My whole world, everything that I was building was just taken out in a pretty awful and horrific way. And so I suffered a lot of PTSD, and it took me a good 4 years to come through it. And while I was coming through it, I had to pretty much shut everyone out. I had to reevaluate everything, rediscern, and change my boundaries with everybody in order to get to my innermost core self. So that's what's being required of us at this time. We need to connect in with our soul at a deep, deep level, so that that soul energy can come through and lead us through our hearts and our life. Because we are here now to create this new paradigm. We are here to create heaven on earth. And the only way to do that is through our hearts. We can no longer lead through the egoic mind and base our world on money. It has to be, what does your soul want? What are you creating from your heart? That's the only way that this is going to work. And so many of us, way showers, had our tower moment years ago, so that we could go through this process and then bring it through to others to show them, hey, you know what? You might be losing everything today and your whole world is crumbling, but that's a good thing, because that means that you are on the path to a total rebirth. And so that means you're going to have to do a lot of clearing work of the old, depending on how old you are in this body and how many traumas you've experienced. You know, you've got to face those deep, dark, inner demons and deal with them. And the way to do that is, when things come up that trigger you, you want to look at the trigger and then follow that back to the source of why that trigger is there. And then you connect with that aspect of yourself and you pour your love onto it. You allow it to feel what it's feeling. So when trauma happens, what happens is that a part of us stays in that traumatic time. And unless that trauma is properly processed, it will be cell imprinted into our bodies, so that every time that button gets pushed, we'll still feel that same energy as if we are still there at that exact time, still living it. And so we've got to go in and pay attention to that aspect of ourselves that endured that trauma. Listen to that aspect of ourselves. Allow that aspect to be heard, understood, and seen. So when they are having, it's you, but it's just a part of you. So when that part of you is having that really intense feeling, instead of taking something for it, instead of smoking it or eating it or drinking it or shopping it or sexing it away, pushing it down, repressing this really uncomfortable feeling, what you want to do is sit with yourself and be very, very present. Your core self has got to show up for these different shadow aspects. Be very present with yourself and say, I understand why you have this feeling. I get it. That was very painful. And yes, you have every right to be angry, or you have every right to be sad, or you have every right to be afraid. Whatever it is, allow that part of you to feel the feeling. And the more you say yes to it, yes, have that feeling, the more that part of you will feel seen, heard, and understood. And that part of you will come out from the shadow and begin to trust you. And that's how you make that inner connection. This is all work that we have to do on the inside. In meditation, or lying in bed at 3 a.m. in the morning when you get woken up by your guides to do clearing work on yourself. Follow whatever thoughts or memories are coming up, and then go into them and say, what am I meant to learn from this? Okay, all right, what part of me is feeling this way? And how to, ask your team, ask your higher self, how do I heal this? How do I resolve this problem? What do I need to do? And it's like meeting yourself inside of you. And so then once you do that, you might have to do it several times, but that's, over and over, repetition. That's how you get into those shadow aspects, and you love them. You love them unconditionally, no matter what. So they have that horrible feeling, and you don't want to feel that feeling, and you've been taught that it's not okay to feel that feeling, but you just say to your inner self, your shadow self, it's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to have that feeling of total hatred right now. And you allow it to happen, and then you find out what's underneath the anger. You find out what's underneath the hatred. And then you love them. You say, I love you no matter what. Even with that feeling, I love you no matter what. And so then they can relax, and you'll feel like a dissolving happening inside. And you can ask that inner shadow self to merge with you. And if that shadow aspect is not ready to merge with you, then more work is to be done. But when you ask them to merge with you, you can picture yourself holding them, and if they feel healed, they will dissolve and merge into you. If they don't, then just keep working with them, and whenever that comes up. And so that's how we integrate these different aspects of ourselves and come more into wholeness. But the loss, the part of loss is such an interesting journey, because we may feel like hard done by. Hey, why is my whole world falling apart? Why did you take this away? What have I done wrong? Why did you abandon me, God? And it's actually not like that at all. So the initial response will be to be a victim. Oh my God, I'm totally being unsupported here. I don't feel loved. My whole world is, everything's being taken. And so you can respond like that if you choose. But after a while, that gets pretty old. And then after a while, you just want to keep your hands like this. And let everything just come and go out, come and go out, come and go out, come and go out. Because God is going to teach you how to not be attached to anything. You think you want something, okay, then you go on that path to get it, and then shoot, it gets taken away. And then your whole world is, in tumult. So then you learn, okay, I'm going to go down this path. And then it gets taken away. After so much loss, you're like, okay, that's not the right way for me to go. Okay, I thought it was, but let's see, let's make an adjustment now, and let's go this way. Or we can just wait for a minute, stop, breathe, and be shown what the way is. Listen and be aware of, okay, what is the next step? And patience, of course, is like the first step on the spiritual path. So it is being peaceful and waiting for divine timing to bring you that which you are creating from your heart and your soul. So when you have a dream and you're manifesting and you're putting it out there and you're doing all the inner work and you're drawing it to you, you've got to be patient. So after all this loss, and you learn, like, this wasn't against me. Everything that is happening for me. Every single thing. Once you realize that, you take your power back. Because now you're not being the victim. Now you are stepping into being the creator. And once you realize you are the creator, that's when you can access your multidimensional self and really take charge of your life through your heart, your desire, and your will. And so the loss is the first step in getting to that creator self. You've got to lose the old. And it's painful. It is so freaking painful. I will not lie. And you know it. You know how painful it is. So once you lose and you go through the whole shutting everyone out, doing the inner work, getting to the core, the nut of your seed self, your soul, and finding out, who am I really? And what am I here for? What am I doing? What's my purpose? What am I bringing through to the world? And so that's the journey. And then you become the creator self. From victim to creator. And it's through the pain of loss. So we at some point, you're going to realize that all of the villains in your life are your greatest teachers. Everyone here is an actor playing a role. We're all doing it for each other to help us evolve. And we're contracted before we even incarnated into these bodies. Okay, when this happens, I'm going to act like this, and that's going to make you really angry. And then when you get really angry, you're going to end the relationship. And then when you end the relationship, it's going to cause me to really start to look at myself and make some changes. And when I make those changes, then I'm going to go into a growth cycle. So you see, we're all just here doing this for each other. So there's like 10 people I can think of right now in the past 2 years that I've had to cut out of my life because of, challenging situations. But I recognize and I thank them. Hey, thank you for playing that role for me, because it really helped to get me to where I am now. And now I'm going to, connect with these new people because they're part of my growth too. So if you are experiencing this really big loss, and you're feeling so lost, abandoned, dejected, hopeless, helpless, that is part of the journey. Just feel it, because there's another step after that. And just know it's going to lead you to this butterfly, which I need to, I just started this butterfly. I've only painted one day on this, but this is it, our transformation. And it's a challenging, painful, heart-wrenching, soul-crushing, but eventually breaking opening journey that leads to glory and light and joy, and it's all of it. Once you come to know who you really are, your true self is the all. We are all of it. Think of a sphere. We experience everything. So that's what it's about. So I hope that this video helped you. And once again, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep going. If you're at that low place, it's going to be okay. And you are loved. All right. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.